Good evening, viewers. Welcome to tonight's regional news. We begin with an update on the situation in Brazil. Search and cleanup efforts continue in the Brazilian city of Petropolis 5 days after flash floods and mudslides that have killed at least 171 people. The victims include at least 27 children and teenagers, while more than 120 are still missing, officials say. Repeated downpours have hampered the work of emergency teams, with authorities saying it is unlikely anyone will be found alive. About 900 people are being housed in schools and shelters. Workers are digging with spades and shovels through the rubble and muck, with teams of volunteers helping in the efforts. The search is being carried out with hand tools and chainsaws in unstable areas, with teams being helped by 41 sniffer dogs. And now for news from the Dominican Republic. The Dominican government on Sunday began building a wall that will cover almost half of the 392-kilometer border with Haiti, its only land neighbor, to stop irregular migration and the smuggling of goods, weapons, and drugs. While the two countries share the island of Hispaniola, they are worlds apart in terms of development. Crime-plagued Haiti is one of the poorest nations in the Americas, while the Dominican Republic, a popular Caribbean tourist destination, has prospered in recent decades amid marked political stability. Many Haitians cross the border in search of work in the fields or in construction industry in the Dominican Republic. About 500,000 Haitians and tens of thousands of their descendants live in the Dominican Republic, a Spanish-speaking nation of about 11 million people, according to the most recent immigration survey conducted in 2018. Now for news from Cuba. Russia and Cuba will deepen ties and explore collaboration in transportation, energy, industry, and banking, Cuba's foreign ministry said late on Friday following a visit from Russia's Deputy Prime Minister Yuri Borisov. In a statement, Cuba's communist-run government expressed support for Russia as tensions mount in Ukraine and accused longtime rival the United States and its allies of targeting Moscow with what is called a propaganda war and sanctions. Borisov earlier this week visited Nicaragua and Venezuela, key Russian allies in Latin America, and said Russia would also deepen bilateral ties with both countries. Cuba and Russia have a long history of deep economic and military collaboration since Fidel Castro's 1959 revolution, though in recent decades those ties have faded. Russia said in December that escalating tensions over Ukraine could lead to a repeat of the Cuban Missile Crisis when the world stood on the brink of nuclear war. And finally, still with the Russia-Ukraine update, the United States has criticized Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro's declaration of solidarity with Russia as it amassed troops near Ukraine's borders, raising fears it is planning to invade. The timing of the president of Brazil expressing solidarity with Russia just as Russian forces are preparing to launch attacks in Ukraine cities could not be worse, the State Department said. It undermines international diplomacy directed at averting a strategic and humanitarian disaster, as well as Brazil's own calls for a peaceful resolution to the crisis. Brazil's foreign ministry and spokespeople for Bolsonaro did not immediately respond to the request for comment on the U.S. statement. Bolsonaro was a strong ideological ally of former President Donald Trump, and relations have cooled under the administration of President Joe Biden amid ructions over climate change and other issues. And that is all for your regional news. Thank you for joining. Goodbye.